map, both fighting in this opening knife round to determine what side they want to start. Although I appear that we might be getting things underway. Let's check out the loot bet odds at the moment, heavily favoring the Gambit youngsters. This is definitely an uphill battle for Na'Vi Jr.
Wow, I'm not sure about that. It's of course one-sided, but I was not expecting them to come through like that. And Na'Vi Jr. actually taking the man advantage going into the pistol round. Bit in a fantastic position to find himself at least one more. Just needs to peek out at the right time. There we go. Finds himself the first. Should be good for the second, but he whiffs the shots. It doesn't matter. Gospodov comes out on top, and it's Axel all alone in a 1v3. He tags down one very, very low. In a 2 versus 1 now. Needs to land these headshots. He's actually doing it. If he pulls this off, it would be ridiculous, but it's Topa to finish things out for Na'Vi Jr. as they put the pistol round on the board, and that's potentially the start they needed.
They're definitely going to be happy with it at the beginning of the CT side of Vertigo. Whichever side does drop down into that best of 3 series, you have to imagine if it is Na'Vi Jr., they'll be fighting to stave off elimination pretty much straight away in that best of 3, whereas if it's Gambit youngsters, they're definitely targeting not just the playoff spot, but they will want to be progressing further, perhaps even into the finals or semis as a minimum, I'd say, as a goal for that side. So it would be a long night of Counter-Strike in store for the Gambit youngsters side if they weren't able to win out this best of 1. So there's motivation either way, but Na'Vi Jr., they'll be playing for survival with a loss here, and that might give them a little bit of motivation to perform.
Stacked up over towards B. That flash comes over, and these SMGs and that FAMAS just absolutely wreaking havoc here. Bit actually questioned going for the knife there and then decided against it. Gets himself a 3k in that one. 3 kills stacked up on that MP9 means he's got plenty of cash behind him. Really nothing that those bots could do there, and they actually did the worst thing that they could do there. So when they're in a round like this, okay, you want to try and stack up, you want to try and go for that bomb plant, but to just peek one by one into that SMG and just feed those kills to your enemy is really not what you want to be doing. Going into round number 3, though, of course, off the back of that eco, there's plenty of money in the bank for the Gambit youngsters side, and they've pulled out the full rifle buy. They are still against just a couple of FAMASs, a couple of MP9s, a single M4 on Na'Vi Jr. So they should be able to come out on top here. And well, no initial kill coming in, but they do take the ramp control early on. They're still contesting it. A lot of bullets being fired, but it's actually Gospodarov who's come out on top with the first.
Straight back comes Shiro, but they're still fighting for this A ramp, and Topa opens up for the next kill of the round. Nafani sticking around perhaps for too long, as Topa will take him down now as well. And Inters and Axel have to find some space here on the B bomb side. They've at least created some early room, but those rotations from Na'Vi Jr. are actually not quite going to come through. They're slower than one might expect at the moment and only just about to arrive. This should allow the free bomb plant essentially to the Gambit youngsters who just have deployed their last bit of utility in the 3-on-2 retake.
We've got 3 to hold up against. They have got the long-range rifles to work with, but Na'Vi Jr. have found an AK of their own. So an M4, an AK, and an MP9 coming into this retake. Flash goes over, not going to be affecting anyone. That smoke might add a spanner in the works. So they've actually double smoked the same angle, which I think that's a little bit of a mistake there, but they're getting close. The bomb's actually being struck by Big to try and deny this. They've been able to do so. Axel now in a 1 versus 1. Doesn't want to spam through this smoke. Topa should be able to actually take this, and Na'Vi Jr. win the buy round. Gambit youngsters, that's gone horribly wrong for them.
They trade out kill for kill on the A ramp, and when they run over to the B side, even though they double smoke the same region, it obscures enough vision for Topa to defuse at the end there. They stay alive on the CT side, and this is almost a bonus performance at this point, as they are really stronger on the offensive half of this map. So all the rounds they can build, just bonus heading over before the main event that will be Gambit youngsters CT side that Na'Vi Jr. will be trying to break into. Gospodarov's AWP might just have a gap over the top of this smoke, but Gambit youngsters are way more tentative in this round. They don't want to aggress again and suffer the early deficit.
That was really the issue in the last round. They contested ramp control, and when they lost that early man, instead of just trading it and falling back, they continued to aggress, and it really ended up costing them. There's 3 players now. They're actually going to lose the first and the second. Only 1 trade coming in. There's the second. 2 for 2, but Shiro's tagged down to 7 HP now. So a 3 versus 3 situation. He's able to fall right back. It's looking like they are going to stack up and try and go over towards this B site. The boost coming in should confirm that it's clear for now. Carpaccio actually playing the site really, really deep. So he's not going to be spotted until they decide to walk up. Now he creeps in, spots the first. A very nice headshot onto Axel, keeping the numbers in their favour. He has a good idea that there's another one there, and he's able to clean him up too. Supra gets a bullet straight to the skull. And Shiro now in a 1v3, nothing he can do whatsoever. Gospodarov actually gets aggressive with his pistol out, despite having an AWP on his back. And Na'Vi Jr. take another buy round, go 4-0 right now. This is exactly what we were talking about. If they can come in with a good start like this, they have seriously got a chance of taking this best of 1.
They're so momentum-based, these one-map series, and when Na'Vi Jr. started off with the mid-play, they throw the spanner straight into the Gambit youngsters' offense. They take too long to reconsider, and by the time they walk up B, Carpaccio's single-handedly able to dismantle them, and now it's down onto just the pistols for the T side, as the Gambit youngsters will be hunting for early headshots and perhaps a lucky rifle in this round. They're desperate to score at some point on the T side and build momentum of their own, as the last thing they want to do is let this CT economy build up.
I think he just spotted Axel there, but he'll certainly take care of him once he knows he's in that corner. Secondary smoke coming in now. Supra has got a gap in it. That's what happens when you go for those on-the-fly smokes. They can definitely cost you, and a nice 1D from Nafany brings things back into a 4-on-4. As they slowly but surely aggress up this A ramp. They've actually only got 2 players to find to be able to claim this site, and Nafany coming in from the back line might be able to find the burst in the form of Topa, who's looking the wrong way. It's Supra to come in and help out. They've now got the man advantage and only Onkara to find, and they land a bullet straight in his head. It's Supra with a nice 1D. And now it's just Bit to try and hold this one up while Carpaccio's coming in for the retake. He finds himself the double spray down. Wow.
3 kills in a round. Nearly gets Inters there as well. Oh, the nade does it from Carpaccio because of the damage. So much work there from Bit as Carpaccio drops the smoke, swings round, but Shiro's Deagle. Oh, the aim is good enough to recover it from the Gambit youngsters. Fair play to Bit, though. He did some serious work there in the A bomb site to try and hold on to it for the Na'Vi Jr. The rotations just a little bit too slow at that point in time, and they were slightly too willing to peek into the deagles of Gambit youngsters and give those gunfights. Now it's the T side who have the firepower advantage going forward, and Na'Vi Jr. they're going to try and make this worth with just a few rifles.
That's not really a round you want to be losing. You've just stripped your opponents of 2 buy rounds back to back. They're forced down to the Deagles, and that's the one you let slip. Of course, the reinvestments come in, and if they can take it, it would still be pretty big. But Supra, the flash comes over, he swings out the double spray down through the smoke as well, trying to find Topa. Can't connect a single shot. But still the 2-man advantage for them to work with. As troops around the smoke should be able to find it now, actually able to do exactly that. It's Nafani this time to find the kills. Does a lot of damage onto Onkara as well, but can't quite finish him off. This may just be the safe call early on for Na'Vi Jr., but only if they let them have it. And for now, Inters is coming in from the back lines, denying any fallback. Gets himself both, and Gambit youngsters start to close this gap. It's 4-2 now, and there's no money left in the bank for Na'Vi Jr.
The CT side have to take the eco as Gambit youngsters sprint forward towards the equalization. That's just a devastating spray down at the start of the round. Supra kills both of the Na'Vi Jr. rifles immediately and nearly destroys the third of Topa. And it's Nafany who finds it straight away. And all 3 players who had to do work from Na'Vi Jr. are the ones who get picked off immediately in that round. Certainly not the way that Na'Vi Jr. would have been hoping to play, but it looks as though some technical issues affecting Onker at the moment as he just drops out and looks to reconnect into the server. This should be the eco, as we mentioned, from the CT side anyway. Gambit youngsters, as long as they survive this with 4 or 5 players, they're going to have a great bank heading forward for the rest of this half.
They really are. They've already kept several players alive in these last couple of rounds. So, actually, considering that they're 4-2 down right now, they're all sitting on rifles. Several players sitting above the sort of 4-5k mark. This is looking really, really good for Gambit youngsters to be able to close this gap. Of course, they should be able to take it 4-3 at the very least. Onkra is now back in the server, so we should be resuming momentarily. As we talked about before, this is a best of 1, and Na'Vi Junior have come out, they've put 4 rounds on the board straight away, showing off that they are capable of beating the Gambit youngsters, even when they've got those AKs in their hands. They just need to put a few more on the board this half to make it more possible for them, I suppose.
They have to take the hard eco, but actually when you look at the cash, Ornka's only on $1,500 himself. There we are, the reset now coming through. He might have a little bit more. Okay, so the justification to eco, perhaps there. They're on double loss bonus now, as well as Gambit youngsters are streaking twice. So it's definitely the time for an eco, I believe, on this Na'Vi Junior side. As we look to get things underway, the Gambit youngsters just avoid dropping the AKs down. That's all they have to do. Focus on getting this clean 3rd round, and then the gun round up next in round number 8. That is the one that the Gambit youngsters can start to dominate in. If they tie up at 4-4, they can start steamrolling some T-side momentum, and the Na'Vi Junior, who had started very strong, might look in trouble at that point.
Since that reset's come through, Gambit youngsters have actually gone for a different buy here. They've decided to put Shiro on the AWP, Nafani just down to the Mac 10. That's an interesting one. Na'Vi Junior starting to walk up towards ramp. Supra might get caught out off guard here, but as the bullets come through, he turns around, spots all the players, he's got all the info in the world, and they should just be able to farm these kills. He's able to find himself one more, sprays away, gets a 3rd, looking for this 4th on Topa, and he does exactly that. A clean round, Gambit youngsters taking no casualties there. Easy pickings on the pistols with no armor.
Exactly what the Gambit youngsters were looking for, a huge boon to the T-side economy of Vertigo as they look ahead now into round 8 to try and equalize the scoreline. And we can talk about our partners over at Hellcase, the biggest and most well-known case opening website with almost 100 cases, updated case battle, upgrader, dozens of monthly giveaways, and loads more unique features. Still ecoed here, Na'Vi Junior. I thought they might have to go onto a double eco. Unfortunately, they didn't have the loss bonus to sustain what I thought they would get in the buy. So it's just Eagles and Armor again. The Gambit youngsters guaranteeing virtually a tied scoreline, and it'll be Na'Vi Junior fighting to deny their opponents taking the lead.
Just these Deagles to work with in round number 8. They are stacked up. They've got 2 players in alley. One watching this ramp area. They are ready to hold off this A ramp, but they need to land the headshots. This double alley stack's really going to be problematic if Gambit youngsters do commit to a swing for it, but Bit opening up with the first headshot. A very nice clean shot from him. That Molotov going to come in, cause some problems for Na'Vi Junior, but it's not actually too problematic. They just take a couple of steps forward. That one's going to be the problem maker. They have to fall right back out of there now, and they're just getting picked off one by one. Axel, what on earth was that? A no-scope straight through the wall. Another one fires off at Gospodarov as well. They know the spam spots to the T. That was a beautiful shot for him to find.
They figure out they might as well have a go. Why not? It's got them a kill. Gospodarov only on 15 as he sat in fire for quite a while there. No plant denial on the cards as Ornka can literally sense Shiro before him, but can't land the Deagle headshot needed, and he has no armor either. Meaning aim punch hurt him severely, and Gospodarov from the back lines can't find any more damage. Supra the only to fall as Gambit youngsters pick up their 4th round, and Na'Vi Jr., they've double ecoed so they could get a buy with all the trimmings together. They've got Gospodarov on that AWP, currently only on 3 kills. Might want to start stepping up and putting it on the scoreboard, as Shiro has got the big sniper rifle out for the Gambit youngsters, and he can really be an absolute malevolent force if he's let loose.
Real battle of the Titans right now. Which AWPer comes out on top? It's looking like the AWP of Gospodarov, though, is actually heading over towards ramp. Holding this sandbags area. I'd quite like to see an AWP playing here, as long as they've got a smoke and they can get out safely if that Molotov comes through. It's not looking like he's going to have a whole lot to do this round, though, as Gambit youngsters are actually heading over towards B and middle. Double stack from the CT side in mid. They are ready for this if they go for it, but Gambit youngsters are not really committing to anything as of yet, and that means that they've got so much room to work with. They don't have to worry about any aggression from Na'Vi Jr. They know that they've got everything on lockdown. They had the early control just through the default that they played off the start of the round, and now they can start to try and find a pick and try and commit somewhere, and it's Axel to find the first with that AWP. It was swapped over to him after he was tagged down to 25, and he's the one to win the AWP battle against Gospodarov.
He's always happy to pick up the secondary AWP for the Gambit youngsters, and he can be incredibly effective with it. Na'Vi Jr., there's too much emphasis on B at the moment. I have no idea why. Na'Vi Jr. have showed no presence towards that side of the map throughout any stages, and Na'Vi Jr. have rotated everyone away. Are they just trying to save their 4 rifles at this point in time? I'm so confused as to why they would do that. No information based on that play whatsoever, other than a lack of presence on the A site. It's totally the wrong call, and I think it's already going to cause Gambit youngsters to have won this round.
It's a really bizarre one. They've gone for a gamble stack. They're obviously off of guessing wrong. They do just go for the early save call, but if they'd stacked those 4 players over towards A, which would have made more sense considering there was utility, there was early presence over towards A, they knew that Gambit youngsters had the ramp control, then maybe they could have won this one. They could have contested it as they started to push up onto the site, but no, gambled it completely wrong. Expected Gambit youngsters to fall back and go round to B, despite the fact that they found the opening pick on A, and instead they've basically just thrown away a round. If they can save these M4s and bring it into the next, that would be pretty big. I'm surprised Gambit youngsters aren't hunting, considering the fact that 3 of them are sitting on or above 10k right now. But either way, they come out on top with a round. They sit 5-4 now, and despite that early gap that was established from Na'Vi Jr., Gambit youngsters have bounced right back and taken the lead.
They certainly have 5 consecutive rounds for the Gambit youngsters at the moment, and they show very few signs of stopping up against the Na'Vi Junior side that is absent AWP, as their economy cannot support it at the moment, and it looks like they may go for some aggressive ramp peaks early on at this point in time. There's no Gambit youngsters players contesting actively other than tossing nades up the ramp for now, as the smokes prevent them from peeking. They're more interested in looking at mid control and an entry towards the B stairs.
Oh, Ankara getting aggressive over towards mid, spamming through that smoke, trying to find something. It's actually quite a dangerous thing to do. His position's now known. He is going to fall off of it. Shiro with this AWP. They're just waiting for some kind of aggression for Na'Vi Jr. For now, it's not being given to them. The trade comes in on mid, so a 4 versus 4 for them to work with now. Inters has taken a little bit of damage, but he has come out on top. Really comes down to this aggression right now from Toper on ramp that means that the Gambit youngsters can't really aggress on it, and instead I think they're going to grab this bomb and head over and towards B, try their luck on that side of the map. There are 2 players waiting, but Capaccio, well, he needs to either find this initial pick, or he needs to make sure that he's got a smoke for that Molotov, which he doesn't have. So he needs to be fast on his feet when it comes through, because it's a pretty standard Molotov for the T's to throw, so I wouldn't be surprised if it comes in.
He's got the nade, and his teammates just spotted out the angles as well. Not going to utilize it just yet, though, as he stuns behind the pillar and can't find any more shots other than onto Inter. Shiro's AWP, his kill is enough by the looks of things to deter Na'Vi Jr. from the round. They don't look like they want to contest the retake at the moment. and they may just leave this 2 versus 3 alone. It's going to be 6 in a row on the T side for Gambit youngsters, as another save is called for Na'Vi Jr. They can't hold on to these sites, and as soon as Gambit youngsters win a single round, they've not looked like stopping since.
They really haven't. They've been very, very strong. Na'Vi Jr. have just been going for these early save calls. It wasn't a bad attempt at holding up that B site. They got themselves a couple of kills on the entry. Or in fact, they only got themselves 1 kill on the entry. But the lifeline was definitely there for Capucho to find himself more than that. The Molotov didn't spread to his corner, so he could have just waited that out a little bit longer, waited for the bomb plant, deny it, maybe get himself 1 more kill in the process as well. But he had to swing out to support his teammate, and he ended up just getting his head ripped off in the process. So Gambit youngsters put themselves onto 6. Na'Vi Jr. yet to put another round on the board since their 4-round lead that they established at the very start. And hopefully that's not the case for the rest of the map, because, well, otherwise this won't be a particularly exciting game.
Definitely might not. 4 guns are out. Na'Vi Jr., they need to start contesting more CT rounds here, otherwise they're at risk of getting steamrolled here on Vertigo. Here we are. That's what we're looking for from Na'Vi Jr. Gozpadarov with an opening kill onto Supra, who was just probing that A bomb site. But he's gone down without even dealing any damage at the moment. It's just a free kill for Na'Vi Jr. to earn, and the early advantage as well. Molotovs going over towards B, but Presence committing to the bottom of A ramp right now, as I think Gambit youngsters may be hoping they can persuade Na'Vi Jr. to walk off the site again.
Well, they've got the info that there were 2 players on ramp. That's really it. There were actually 3, but I don't think they spotted the 3rd. The issue is just by not making any noise for 30 seconds, Na'Vi Jr. start to get scared and start rotating off. These sound cues are now going to mean that Gozpadarov can relay this to his teammates. The rotation should now come through. They're still being a little bit slow. One person should really rotate here, but as he finds himself another shot, a 5 versus 3 for Na'Vi Jr. to work with now. Surprised that smoke actually goes up. It means that he can get right up close to it, and that's exactly why. Topa spams Axel through that one. 4 versus 2 now as he finds himself one back. He's dancing around the box, finds a nice headshot onto Gozpadarov, but instantly traded means that Shiro's last alive. 1 versus 3. The AWP in hand, but he's being spammed from all angles and he can't get any first shot. This is surely him dead and gone here. And well, Capucho made a little bit of a meal of it, but he did finish him off in the end. And Na'Vi Jr. The round, I say it. They bounce one back. 6-5 right now. A lot closer than the odds were showing, and a lot closer than I think we anticipated. But we are only 11 rounds in, of course.
They've broken the streak of Gambit youngsters, but they definitely haven't broken the bank. So much cash available for this T side that the buy comes straight through, and it looks like they want to go contact towards A this time. There's only one player in the form of Topa defending this A bomb site, as it is mid-commitment from the Na'Vi Jr. side. He'll drop a smoke in front of him early on, but that may communicate to the Gambit youngsters that there is not enough of a defense on the A bomb site to commit to us early on. We can take this map control and then look to put a bomb down with a wall of smokes. We should get a plant here instead. They seem dissuaded, at least for the moment. They'll keep one player up aggressively, but they've used their tracers to bait in rotations onto the A site, and now they're going to go for a delayed B hit.
With a minute 10 on the clock, they start to walk up. The issue is Capucho actually had a huge amount of control there, pushed right up to the bottom of the stairs. He does fall right back. It does mean that he can't get overwhelmed if they do commit to it, but for now, Gambit youngsters actually stack back up over towards ramp. They're taking this control. In the meantime, the rest of his teammates just heading over towards these B stairs. This is very, very slow from Gambit youngsters. They need to keep an eye on the clock and make sure they don't go for this execute too late.
Slow and methodical from the Gambit youngsters, and they're attacking currently the more lightly defended bomb site, as There's very little utility left from the CT side of Molotov, and HE just about all there is to work with as Nafany overwhelms Capucho on the site, and Supra on A as well opens up onto Topa. Now Na'Vi Jr. have no idea what's going on, and Ornka can only get one before being ripped apart. Padarov opens up two, and he'll get his second of the round, but it would be a 1 versus 2 clutch now for him to try and pull off. With 2 players here, all close range, misses the shot, and Axel, he can finish it off though with the AK-47 as Gambit youngsters pick a round straight back up. Na'Vi Jr. look like they can muster a bye here, but they're running out of rounds now at the end of this half, and the Gambit youngsters could still close things out with double digits.
Na'Vi Jr. did a lot of damage in that round, but it was clear that they weren't in control. As soon as the execute came through, Gambit youngsters were swift on those early frags. They get onto the site, they use their utility perfectly. And despite the fact that a few kills came in on the retake, it was very unlikely they were going to let that round slip away from them. Right now, these angles from Na'Vi Jr., they've been dangerous in the past, but they need to make sure they hold them. I feel like it makes sense to contest that early ramp control when you've got the utility to work with, but the issue that Na'Vi Jr. are having right now is they're using all their utility early. They're contesting this ramp control when no one's there to take it. Gambit youngsters are just sitting back for a minute every round, just allowing all of that utility to come through, waiting out Na'Vi Jr., and then as soon as they run out of the smokes, they then start to fall right back, and Gambit youngsters can then take the control later on in the round. This time, Topa's actually tried to get a little bit aggressive. It hasn't paid off for him at all. But if it's done anything, it's given a bit of info and rotated another player over towards the A site, which might be just what they need.
Time ever ticking forward. The Gambit youngsters retrieve that bomb and slowly bring it over to this A ramp. Na'Vi Jr. still with only 2 players in the site. The rotations yet to come through. And it means Padarov has to find this shot at close range. He's played it multiple times, but the shoulder baiting will not cause him to miss at all. Bit's found a double headshot. Huge work because Padarov taken down by Shiro. Bit can't find that refrag. A little bit of a delay there, and that's allowed space for Gambit youngsters, but they don't have time. They have to secure the plant, and they know it's going to be a one-on-one situation here against Axel. They overwhelm them both, and Na'Vi Jr. pick up their 6th. Much better played, but it's all predicated on that double spray down from Bit.
That was a massive double setup there from Padarov and Bit. I like the initiative from Shiro there to, when called upon, jump up and use that AWP like a shotgun, close range. Trade out that frag, take control of that area again, but yeah, the clock is really their demise in that scenario. They have to go for the bomb plant, and then they just get overwhelmed. They can't allow Supra to just hold on to it, and it doesn't work out for them at all. This scenario, because Padarov actually going for that early pick. The issue is the flames were there. He gets tagged down to 50 and can't find himself anything early on.
The Gambit youngsters, this is much more competitive than they would have been hoping for. They have at least advanced towards the top of the ramp in this round. Deep Molotovs and utility, that's what's been forcing Na'Vi Jr. back so far in this round from the T's, but there is a heavier commitment over on the A-bomb site this time, despite the fact that the bomb has not yet been picked up. It looks like the Gambit youngsters are going to retrieve it and have a go at making their way into this A-bomb site again. They have so many smokes to work with and set up that wall, whereas Na'Vi Jr., you mentioned it before, they leave themselves with 2 little utility in the late round and just 1 smoke and 3 flashes to contest this Gambit youngsters push.
3 flashes is all they have now, but they've got 4 men stacked up towards this site, and as Topa finds the first, I thought that might be enough to initiate something, but as Inters trades them both out, Nafany finds himself 1 more through the smoke, and now it's a 4-on-2. Na'Vi Jr. cut their losses, fall right back. They know they just need to save this AWP and the AK. There's no chance of them working their way back into this round, and Gambit youngsters put themselves onto 8. At least secure the half. They could go for 9-6 here, and I think that's A likely scenario, considering Na'Vi Jr. won't have a huge amount to pull out in this next round. Especially if Axel finds one on this hunt. The issue is Gospodarov rarely misses this shot, and he's not going to miss it today. Axel gets punished. Na'Vi Jr. bring those 2 weapons into the next round.
8-6 lead for the Gambit youngsters as Nafany actually takes down Carpaccio in the Nightmare loss. No more M4 for him, as Gospodarov will only be supported by 1 rifle by the looks of things. Maybe a FAMAS can come out onto Topa, but that is it. Him, Bit, and Topa have to get it done in this round. Ornka can get an MP9 together, but the buy is more stretched than they'd like to be working with. Limited utility available as well in this one, and Gambit youngsters probably going to play this slightly passively, as they always do, to wait for that Na'Vi Junior utility with Supra, seeing if he can creep forward aggressively and hunt for the early kills.
Oh, the nade comes through, actually explodes right next to them, but it's on the wrong side of the curtain, and it doesn't do any damage. It's Supra to find the first frag onto Topa. Gives them that early man advantage. Carpaccio getting aggressive over towards B. He can relay all of this info, there's no one here, and potentially even go for a flank. But in the meantime, his teammates are falling on A, and he needs to go and support. Whether it be coming in from behind and trying to make a play, well, that's not going to work out for him at all. This is not looking good for Na'Vi Jr. right now. They've actually found themselves 1 back as Bit's taken Supra, but a 4 versus 2... Gambit youngsters, they've got so much leg room. Nafani's coming in from the back. This is going to be a free kill for him onto Gospodarov, and, well, Bit knows that there's no chance of him clutching this one up. It's going to be a 9-6 half for Gambit youngsters.
Inters confirms it, and the 3-round lead goes with the top 30 side in today's opening best of 1. Now, Na'Vi Junior switch over to their stronger side of Vertigo, the T side of things, and Inters, Axel and Supra, the 3 top fraggers for that Gambit youngster side, whereas it's Bit and Carpaccio leading the way for Na'Vi Junior. Gospodarov and Ornka, normally some of the better players for that Na'Vi Junior side, not quite as effective, and I think these odds might just be the wrong way around here from our partners over at LootBet, indicating that it's the 1.27 to Na'Vi Junior. I don't think that would be the case, even though it's their stronger T side, but we'll have to see if they're right or not heading into this round.
Either way, it shows that the odds were certainly closer than at the start, even if it was the wrong way round. But I think we saw an 11-1 for Na'Vi Junior coming into this one, and a 1.1 for Gambit youngsters or something ridiculous. So I think this 9-6 half has really shown that Na'Vi Junior have definitely got what it takes to tip this over the edge. But Gambit youngsters are still the stronger side. The man advantage coming into this one, as Fani looking to find this one. It's actually Shiro to find the final kill onto Topa. That leaves Bit and Ornka left. They're going to head over towards the A site. They've got the bomb on their back, but Gambit youngsters have a good read on the situation. They're actually going to rotate all 3 players over towards this A site, ready and waiting to handle this one.
So weird. They had the chance to plant in B there, but decided they didn't want to because Gambit youngsters were too quick on the retake. So instead, they just rather go and attack the A bomb site, and that is a big whiff there from Ornka. His teammate now falls in the pistol, and this looks to be double digits for the Gambit youngsters now, as he'd struggle to recover against 3 USPs, especially when his position is known and nobody is pushing forward into him. The Gambit youngsters have bomb control, and he'd have to fight 0 if he wants to recover that bomb. He takes the damage now as well as they look to flash him out. This is the pistol for the CT side, surely.
He's got a fair amount of time on his hands. He needs to land these shots, though. Spots out the first. Oh my goodness, that I didn't even hear the gun sound. That was absolutely perfect. He's dealt a huge amount of damage. The knife's coming in. They ran out of bullets though, and oh my. That almost went horribly wrong for Gambit youngsters.
Oh dear, they shot each other in the back of the head. Bit was landing nice pistol shots. That nearly went very wrong indeed, but eventually the Gambit youngsters stabilise and put double digits on the board. They take 4 MP9s forward into the round as well to try and farm up bonus cash and steamroll us to an early finish on Vertigo. Na'Vi Junior, they need to dig deep, but likely not going to be able to do so in this round on the Eco. They'll be hunting for rifles in the next, where they'll have an opportunity to show us what they have on offer on this T side.
They're going to have to allow Gambit youngsters to get to 11 first, and as they're walking into this blender, there's 2 MP9s holding up mid here. There's no flash for them to go off on. They just charge straight in and they get mowed right down. 4 kills coming in from Nafani. Inters to find the last. That is a huge cash boost. He now sits on 6k and he's going to buy an AWP and drop it over to his teammate straight off the bat.
What else are you going to do with that much money on the CT side? Just holds left click and it basically works out for all of them. 11-6 up. The Gambit youngsters can really make a statement in this round as they carry 3 MP9s forward. If they're able to defeat the Na'Vi Junior AK buy, they'll force them back down onto pistols and have the 12-6 lead with the SMG buy in this round. It's definitely a reason why they call it the bonus, but if they take it, it just shows how strong they are.
Topa finding that early pick onto Nafani. It's actually going to be the man advantage going in the favour of Na'Vi Junior, which, considering this is their buy round, this is really a must-win round for them. It's a good position to be in. An early man advantage. The Molotov not working out for Supra either, but through it, he's actually going to get close to this smoke. This is a very dangerous position if they don't expect it. As he starts to creep around, though, they're looking right on the angle. It's a game of who sees who, and it's Supra that spots out Topa. The man advantage goes back in the favour. Or, in fact, it levels back up, doesn't go in the favour of anyone. 4 versus 4 now, 50 seconds on the clock, and Na'Vi Junior are going to start to reroute their attack and head over towards B.
As if he was clairvoyant, Axel deploys the smoke and the Molotov just as they arrive. They walk straight through it, though. They're not waiting for that one to dissipate. And they know they don't really need to either. As they prepare their utility to smash into the B bomb site, they really do need to hit these early shots as they've left themselves under significant time pressure with MP9s at close range, able to deal damage now. 20 seconds left to go as Axel is just hiding behind the boxes until he gets taken down. Orca finds him, but Inters has taken out Bit, and this is taking too long for Na'Vi Junior to find a way in. Eventually, the double entry from Capucho may be enough for Gospodarov. If this plant is denied by Shiro, he would be a hero. Instead, Gospodarov survives. It doesn't matter, though. The flick from the Gambit youngsters, Orbit comes through, and they pick up the 12-6 lead.
As you said it, Shiro the hero wins the buy round for Gambit youngsters despite that early advantage from Na'Vi Junior. I'm not quite sure on Capuchel's angle there, considering he was low HP as well. I respect the off angle, but didn't work out for him whatsoever. Gambit youngsters now sit 12-6, doubling their opponent's scoreline and, well, winning their buy round as well. They are actually able to pull out another, but very limited utility on this Na'Vi Junior side, and I think that's going to be a huge deficit coming into round number 19.
It's interesting in this round, as Na'Vi Junior take quite a lot of utility damage, but they find the opening kill over towards the B bomb site. And that's something they found in the last round as well, was the first kill, but they didn't really find a way to capitalize on it. Instead, they just sort of slunk away and refocused their efforts again, similarly to this round. And this one could go a lot better, as they're attacking as a team on the A-bomb site this time. Depends on whether or not the Gambit youngsters can stand tall and get multiple kills from these positions.
Supra's in a good spot to do work, and with that limited utility on Na'Vi Junior, they're going to struggle to flush him out, but an uncharacteristic miss from Shiro means that he gets taken out here. Supra, they know his position. He's had to smoke the Molotov. There are 2 men down. They know exactly where their opponents are and they need to convert these frags. Nafani's here to help out. Flash goes over, not going to affect either of them as he swings, goes for the headshot but can't connect it. Bit now gives them a 3-man advantage. Supra levels out these numbers, actually finds himself 3. What a time for him to step up. The 2 versus 2 for them to clutch up now. Still got the cover behind the sandbags and he's looking for his 4th. He can't find it.
They can't plant. All Inters has to do is live from this angle, and he's won the round. Oh, no, Na'Vi Jr., that's not how this is supposed to work out. They just stall the execution. They fail to really put their foot down on the pedal there. And ultimately, that gave enough room for the Gambit youngsters. 2 players is all it took to just eviscerate that execution. And losing rounds like that, it's just a nightmare scenario to be in. That was a must-win scenario for Na'Vi Jr. in terms of the advantage they had. And now they're going to have even less utility to try and make something done in this round. They've always been able to find the opening kills, but it still somehow falls apart.
Well, the early aggression over towards this smoke. Actually a man pushing down right to B as well. Axel needs to be careful that he doesn't get over aggressive here. Otherwise he will be punished by Capucho. Ooh, funny. Narrowly surviving on 6 HP for now as he gets spammed through the wall. Got to make sure that another bullet doesn't connect there. Might be worth him falling back. That's exactly what he does, but as Gospodarov actually finds himself one of his own. A man advantage for Na'Vi Jr. to work with. The CT sitting on 6 as well, and I think he forgot to jump before he threw that smoke. That's unfortunate.
Rip smoke, as Na'Vi Jr. will have to advance without that one. It's because it's so close range, but he shot his teammate a little bit there as he walks in front of him, and that's just messy communication from the youngsters. Bit cleans the pair of them up with a Mac 10 as they just trip over each other on the A bomb site whilst trying to push for the aggression. And that's enough for Na'Vi Jr. to pick up 7 rounds at the moment. Gambit youngsters, they don't really have the cash to bring forward in this next round. And with an AWP and a UMP, I don't know whether you want to be investing around those weapons.
I don't think that's going to be the call. I think they've got enough rounds to play with here. They go for an eco, maybe just buy a couple of pistols around these 2 weapons saved. Go for the full buy in the next. Maybe try and save the AWP again. You kind of have a decision to make. When you have an AWP and it's just backed up by some pistols, you have one of 2 options. You either go for this hero AWP play where you go for that early pick, you try and open something up and take that man advantage and allow the pistols to come out on top. Or you play it very, very defensive, and if the T's end up aggressing onto the wrong bomb site or something, you just go for the early save call and you bring it into the buy round.
You're absolutely right there. And well, despite the Gambit youngsters having virtually no money available, they're still going to be taking the eco here. They're going to be working around the rifles that they have available by the looks of things. And Shiro's AWP obviously going to be what has to lead the way at this point in time for the Gambit youngsters side on the defense. It could be so difficult, but it does really leave things prone to these individuals. If Inters and Supra are able to bait out effectively for those rifles, then they are going to have a really good time mopping up kills. However, if the AWP and the M4 fall first, this is quite easily a round that goes on to Na'Vi Jr.
Wow, as Topa finds that early frag, it gets instantly traded by Supra. He is able to get away with this AWP. Going to take a much more defensive stance. As all 4 players for Na'Vi Jr. now start to group up over towards this A ramp. 53 seconds on the clock. They're executing here. The wall of smokes goes up. Supra boosted up onto these pallets. Might be able to find that opening pick, but he's not able to do so. As these smokes start to dissipate, he might spot someone out. For now, finds nothing. Has to drop off as the smokes are now gone. He's going to take this AWP fight elsewhere.
Gospodarov finding the first kill there. As the bomb planted, the Gambit youngsters How will they find their way in on this retake? Nafani's picked up the AWP, but he has no body armor, so saving it might be the better call here. As Axel, how far away is he with this rifle? It doesn't look like he's going to be committing anytime soon either. No, he's just going to back out into mid and retreat with that M4A1S. 8 rounds given away then, as the Gambit youngsters, they can actually buy now if they want to. Axel could drop a rifle to 1. Nafani dropping that AWP, assuming, and buying himself armor. So they might just stretch themselves for the rifles here, but they could just take down to pistols and armor and have full utility in the upcoming. So it's a bit of a gamble either way.
They're in this dilemma again, Gambit youngsters. They've got an AWP and the M4 to work with. Very little on everyone else. Na'Vi Junior somehow pulling out these rounds as they find themselves 13-8 right now. As they push up this ramp as well. They're looking to make it 13-9. They found the first. BIT is doing huge work, and Ashiro misses that shot. That should be one of those routine shots he hits. He's asking for the boost here. Might be able to find something, but they get spotted out. The spam starts to come through, and he makes the smart move to drop off. As he heads over towards B, it's actually looking like he might just go for this early safe call, to be honest.
They don't seem dissuaded quite yet with 4 alive. They're sticking around for now. It's really going to have to be perfect, though. You can imagine if they lose just one of these opening kills, they are going to be falling back and saving the AWP. Even the Molotovs are enough to dissuade them away, and they do back off and save the rifles forward. M4 and AWP recovered through 2 rounds, you think now, for the Gambit youngsters. Na'Vi Junior closed down 9, but finally the CTs are going to have the guns back out in the next, and that is where the real challenge lies.
Capajo needs to make sure he doesn't get too aggressive here. Inters is just around this corner. Be interesting to see off the back of hearing these sound cues whether he actually aggresses after the bomb explodes or whether he just wants to bring that Kevlar into the next. And it is the latter. With that Kevlar then he'll be able to buy an M4 around it, plenty of utility to work with as well. The issue is they did have a 7-round lead, now only a 4. And if they lose this buy round, it's going to be closed further. Na'Vi Junior certainly keeping this one competitive. And it's now time that Gambit youngsters need to pull away and try and put their 16th down. Secure this best of 1 and start looking forward to that best of 3 that they have coming up next.
This is their opportunity to start scoring again on this CT side. They won't be able to put Na'Vi Junior to bed with the victory in this round, as their economy will support a few more buys, but it will do a lot to restore their momentum. Nafani opens up onto Topa, and that spray from the A1S just trying to prevent any refragging, as now Shiro looks like he wants to go aggressive in mid and hunt down for some of these frags against the Na'Vi Junior side. BIT backing off just in time perhaps to save his own life, as it's a B execution on the cards at the moment for Na'Vi Junior with a man disadvantage, and Shiro in the quick rotation position.
Very good setup over towards this B site. They've got 2 guys, they've got perfect crossfire setup. They just need to make sure they play off of each other. Axel needs to swing off of his teammate's contact, or if he's Molotov'd out, his teammate needs to support him. That's exactly what happens, but the Molotov comes through and actually he has to smoke it off, dancing around it. They're both still alive. Inter does in fact fall, and Axel falls as well. Doesn't work out for them at all. Neither of them are able to do anything, but Ashiro comes through with that AWP. Denies the plant from going down for now. A 3 versus 3 for them to work with, and with 20 seconds now on the clock, they can just continue to delay further. Gambit youngsters a good chance of taking this one. The bomb's going to go down again. This time they're unable to deny it. Capacho up close and personal. They seem to be aware of it. The smoke dissipates. Nafani will take care of him. Super finds the second, and it's all on BIT, and it's 1v3. Finds himself 2, looking for the 3rd, spraying away. He's tagged down to 18. But Shiro, with this AWP, has to go for the pistol, and he needs to land the shot. He lands it perfectly, and the defuse comes in. Comes down to a 1-on-1, but Gambit youngsters come out on top and put themselves onto full team.
I'm really confused in that last round. BIT does an amazing job to find a quad kill and nearly saves the round with an ace, but Ornka started planting the bomb there. He started planting and then got up and decided to move, which was when he was taken down. And that caused a further 20-second delay onto when the bomb actually got planted and failed to provide any more pressures onto the Gambit youngsters. I'm really confused as to why he stopped. Perhaps he wasn't planting in a favourable position, but you have to think, surely you just commit at that point so you can get back up and into the gunfight. That's a blunder potentially that could have cost Na'Vi Jr. a huge momentum building round now, as they are taking heavy damage over towards the A side of the map. And they need now to figure out a way to overcome this Gambit youngsters buy and avoid map point being secured against them.
Bit right now, almost landing that shot onto Shiro. A lot of damage being dealt to Na'Vi Jr. just from these nades, and of course they've got another buy left in the tank, but if they let this one slip, their opponents go on to match point. They'll have 6 chances to close it out. They want to try and convert this so that there's no overtime. They close it out in regulation. For now, the wall of smokes goes up, but as long as Nafani's alive, they cannot go for this bomb plant. It's looking like instead they're going to head over towards this B side of the map, but Axel's still alive, able to wreak havoc, does a whole load of damage, but yet to convert a kill. The nade going to come through, but in the meantime, Gospodarov actually finds him through the smoke with that AWP. A 4 versus 3 now as Gambit youngsters come in for this retake. Ooh, I thought Gospodarov might just connect that one. It would have taken some crazy reactions, and in the meantime, he gets taken out, leaves Onka all alone in this 1v3.
It's planted for him, and time's ticking away. Sure, there's no utility either for the Gambit youngsters. They do have 3 players. They're all going to fire at him at once, and it's Supra who takes his head off. They stick the bomb to the Gambit youngsters and secure the defuse. That's map point here on Vertigo now, and Na'Vi Jr., their chances of victory may just be slipping away despite the work they got done. It all fell apart in the round prior, and now Gambit youngsters look ahead to close out Vertigo with this round.
As I said before, 6 chances now to close this one out. I think overtime is not only a worst case scenario for Gambit youngsters, but it would actually be really poor if it came down to it. Looking to close this one out as early as possible. Shiro going for that early pick, not able to find anything as he has to fall right back. That nade comes through, deals a fair amount of damage onto Bit. He's really been the star player in my mind for Na'Vi Jr. with that rifle, doing a huge amount of damage early on. The second star has to be Gospodarov on that AWP. Lands himself another shot through the smoke. He's been very, very consistent with his shots so far this half, and it's a shame that they couldn't put more rounds on the board down due to it, because these players have actually been performing really well.
Shiro nearly killed Bit with that wallbang. 2 HP. The Na'Vi Junior players allowed to survive. Now, the T side look to charge further into A. Having found Nafani, it's definitely fertile ground for the plunder. They charge up the A ramp, slowly taking control, but as Axel's fallen as well now to Capucho in mid, it all goes wrong for the Gambit youngsters. It looks like this map will not be over in this round. The bomb will go down for free on the B site, as Shiro being taken down. They might not even get the chance to save on the Gambit youngsters side. Inters has to back away, but Topa is going to be hunting it.
This surprises me, considering Gambit youngsters had that early advantage where they dealt a whole load of damage. Of course, they couldn't convert any of the kills at the start, but they dealt so much damage early on to Bit. They did a lot onto Capucho as well. Inters right now is being hunted, and if they sacrifice too many weapons, it won't be good, but it's only the one as they take him out. No AK going into the next round, and Gambit youngsters really don't have any money in the bank left, so will be a pistol round for them. Na'Vi Jr. will be able to put themselves onto 11 before Gambit youngsters will be able to buy again. Gives them a lifeline to work with, and I suppose allows them to build up a little bit of momentum.
It should do. The issue is the 15-10 scoreline. Is that too great a deficit? Now, if this was 15-12, I'd be saying Na'Vi Jr. have the chance to come straight back into it. 15-10, though, that's at least 2 full buys in my mind for the Gambit youngsters that they need to lose probably actually a minimum of 3 because they're going to drag guns into the last round before allowing overtime to come in anyway. So I think that's just too much for Na'Vi Jr. to have to overcome. Yes, they've got the 15-11 scoreline, but as the guns come out now, they have to overcome this and then at least one more gun round with no mistakes possible. It's not impossible, but it would have to be a miracle effort. And with Bit on 25 kills, probably has to do a bit more if he's going to get Na'Vi Jr. there.
It's absolutely doable. Supra, though, with the FAMAS. Zinter's an Axel with very limited utility as well. Can they do what's needed and hold this one up? And if they can't, Na'Vi Jr. would actually be able to put themselves on the third team. This would get very interesting very quickly. The early kill coming in from the Fani through that smoke, though, gives Gambit youngsters that man advantage. No trade potential to come in, just the Molotov to force him back. Because Padarov really needs to find one in return here. And instead, they just seem to get a whole load of damage dealt onto them. The flash comes through. Supra's actually good for 2 frags. That's absolutely huge. Onka finds himself one in the meantime, but a Supra finds a third. That is a huge play to close this out. It's Capucho last alive. He can't do anything as Supra finds his 4th. And Gambit youngsters close it out 16.